Alright guys, before we get started on this review, first things first, we got our man Pikachu here. We got my man Jigglypuff right here, and then Eevee, which is my favorite. I don't know, Jigglypuff's pretty good, but okay. Alright, sorry guys, so I'm gonna get. Alright, you guys just get in the way. Okay, hang on a sec. Alright, Jigglypuff, sorry, you're gonna have to go back on the couch. Because, this movie is called Detective Pikachu, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. When I first learned that Legendary Pictures bought the rights to Pokemon, I was super psyched, like, come on, right? But I immediately became not psyched when I learned that they bought the rights to Detective Pikachu, the game, and not Pokemon, the franchise. Now, I knew that Detective Pikachu was a spin-off story-driven game that didn't have any Pokemon battles, and I was like, how can you do a Pokemon movie without training some Pokemon and having them fight against each other? That's not what Pokemon is, right? And they're just gonna ruin this IP, this franchise, this game that I grew up with and that I love. And then when the trailer came out, there was the whole like fur gate with Pikachu. Like I never really thought Pikachu had fur. I never really imagined him with fur. So when it came out and he was like really furry, like you could see the fur on his head, I got more upset. At that time I was just like, anything to bash this movie with, I would use it. And so I was just really against this movie from the very beginning. But when the movie started, I was almost immediately won over, because I realized from the very beginning that this movie was about the fans. Like, they made this movie for the fans. And you can tell by just how the city is created. Like, Rhyme City, is like kind of like Zootopia, where like, animals and humans live together in harmony, where Rhyme City is like humans and Pokemon live in harmony together. And just the details of how Pokemon and humans live together was really cool. Like, it was really subtle and not as, well done as Zootopia, but just seeing that Snorlax falling asleep in the middle of the street and having, a person divert traffic, watching like the Pidgeots, carry mail around the city. I was like, these details are great. And I felt like, oh, really, really took time in trying to imagine what it would be like to live with Pokemon, and that was something that I wasn't expecting to be so well done. And the story is, at the end of the day, about Pikachu and the human character Tim Goodman. But you get to see pretty much every fan favorite Pokemon make an appearance, whether it's in passing or along the journey. And yeah, I would have liked to see more classic Pokemon appear or have a more significant role in the story, but at the end of the day, the story came first. I understand why only a small number of Pokemon had a big role or like a significant role in the movie, and and I was fine with it. I loved watching Pikachu interact with the human protagonist. I thought the chemistry was great, and Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu's voice, just it's Ryan Reynolds, and you don't get away from it. But instead of just trying to cover it up, they actually went with it all the way, and I really appreciated how much Reynolds brought to the role. To say that I was totally wrong about Detective Pikachu would be a fair statement, I would say. I think the story works well enough to service the fans, and I think it's complicated enough to stand on its own as a detective story. And Pokemon the world is actually pretty complex. It's very sci-fi. It has all sorts of sci-fi elements to it, but they made it simple enough for, I think, any casual viewer to follow along. You don't have to be a fan of Pokemon. Having said that, if you are not a fan of Pokemon, you might not be getting a lot out of this movie, right? Like, if you don't like these characters, you're not gonna have as much fun, and if you're wanting to get into Pokemon through this movie, it's also gonna be challenging, because like I said, there's not the classic training Pokemon, battling Pokemon, that what Pokemon is really about. So as a new fan, this might not be the best choice as a entry point into the franchise. But that, guys, that's my review of Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I loved it. I thought it was a great fan service movie, but at the same time, the story was serviceable. It didn't have any major problems. I loved the interaction between Pikachu and Tim Goodman. Ryan Reynolds brought so much to the role. You know, he continues to surprise me from movie to movie, and yeah, it was just a great time. And I'm very happy to say that I was very wrong about this movie when I first heard about it. So, guys, let me know what you think. If you saw it, if you didn't, comments below, and what other movies you're excited about. Also, let me know, and I'll try to check them out. Okay, and I'll see you next time.